So a couple of days ago, I guess it was Saturday, I was recording an episode where I got kicked off the range, and I mentioned as how it's been fire weather out here in the state of Washington. And it's a little spooky. The wind was howling, it was 70 degrees, and I came out this morning to, I'm gonna have to put this thing on autofocus. I was up charging some batteries, and I came out this morning. We've got a couple of fires going in the area. We've got one called the Black Hole Fire and one called the Nakia. Nakia has actually been on the national news. We're between the two of them. So I just figured I'm coming down here to do an episode on, I don't know if I can get any of this or not. But anyway, coming down to do an episode on heavy sand. And I was down here this morning and it was socked in so hard I couldn't even see the 100-yard target butt. And I figured, well, I'll wait for the fog to burn off, come back and see just how much of this is smoke. And our kids here are always on fire watch, always have been. That's the outside of the range house. That's my, I rolled these metal, I guess you'd call them guards down in front of the windows, and then I run a sign out, and I've got a piece of rebar and a whole thing so people can't walk in front of the windows. But I just wanted to let you know that this fire thing here in the state of Washington is real. So what we're going to talk about today is heavy sand. I was filling some bags and I thought, you know, there's going to be somebody somewhere interested in this. So we are, if I can get this set up, I just decided to add that silly video on about the fires here in town because I could. So I did. So give me a minute to get this thing set up. That was pretty impromptu to walk out and get a picture of the fire stuff. So now I've got to hook up my monitor scenario, or you're going to have to listen to that clicking. I don't know that we want to listen to all that clicking. Give me a second while I hook in my monitor, so my TV, so I can see what I'm looking at. Kludgy, I know. Maybe someday I'll get the power to edit this kind of stuff out. We'll see. Don't know that that's going to happen, but if it does, I'll clean these up and you'll get a more pleasant viewing experience. In the meantime, you get to work with my fiddlying around. There we go. Now I've got my, it doesn't make any difference to you, but I've got my monitor set up. And I've got some sand here. What happened was, one of my bags got a little loose on me. And this is the way this always happens. I don't ever want them to end up super tight. So I fill them to where I think they're going to sag back down. And frankly, this one sagged down under use as I'm breaking it in. Sometimes I've been tempted to get them wet because they get wet out and they always change. What I'm looking for is for something I can squeeze. That's actually from this side, but that's neither here nor there. And I thought, you know, I've got buckets and buckets of sand, and I asked the question shortly before I got kicked off of Bench Rest Central. One of my last things on the thing, if you search my name, is I was asking about heavy sand because I've got some weird readouts on sand. I figured I'm gonna show you two things. Number one, I'm gonna show you how I fill and unfill these bags. And number two, hope I can do this. I should have brought something a little bit better. But I've gone through, I've got vibratory tables, I've got drop tubes, I've got stuff through the years that I've used and tried, and I've come up with a kind of a stupid simple system. It's still not pleasant, it still takes time, it's not perfect, but it's something that pretty much anybody can do without spending a bunch of money on a bunch of junk. So that tape was on there because I always tape the ends up before I tuck them back in. So this is the key to the whole thing right here. I'm going to bring this up here close. I'm going to turn this off of autofocus, and I'm going to show you what I done did here. Basically, I took an aluminum arrow shaft and I rounded the end of it off nicely. This length seems to work okay. And a funnel, and I taped the whole apparatus together. And the thing is, there's two main kinds of sand that are used: zircon and chromite. And there's been discussions on the inner tube. There's posts and there's things, and there's people saying that zircon and chromite are 20% different in weight. And the biggest difference I find with zircon and chromite is that zircon is white with black in it. I've heard legends of people taking just the black and siphoning it out. I don't know. I better not say anything about that, because some have said the black is heavy, and some have said when you siphon it out it becomes illegal, and some have said this is why this channel exists. I don't presume to have a lot of answers, but I hear a lot of the scuttlebutt. I hear a lot of the arguments, and I try as much as possible to answer when I can. So what I did is I went to a foundry place. I went to a foundry supply store, and I bought from the open market zircon and chromite. Now I've got another sand here before I get into it that I don't know what it is. I have some sand that I bought from shooting supplies, and I won't say who or where or whether it was at a match somewhere because I don't know. This is a heavy sand that I have marked as, this is 9.8 pounds of something kind of heavy. This is much heavier than beach sand. But before we go through that, let me show you. I'm not sure what's in this bag here, but there's two things that we do with bags. We take sand out of them, we put sand in them. So to take sand out, it's always slow, all right? But this is pretty fast, and what I'm going to start with is I'm going to assume that this is chromite, or zircon, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll put it over this heavy sand thing, and I'm going to take a little bit out just to show you how we take it out. Yep, that right there is straight up zircon sand. So, I don't know if you saw that, I'll dump a little more. I'm not going to dump a whole bunch. So, whatever that stuff is, I'm just going to let it be. And now, I'm going to just show you the moves. I tap this, tamp it. This happens to be on a steel plate, but now it's really soft. I wanted to add a little bit to this. So I take somehow I've managed to misplace my Scoopy bucket. So I'll use my hand. I reach in, I grab some zircon. I got so messed up by going out and filming the fire coming in. As I said, we've got the Nakia Creek fire, which has been on the national news lately because it blew up. The day I was filming out here, Saturday, the kids came out and I had to come in here and film because I couldn't shoot. The wind was, we were getting that heinous fall wind that comes in here, and I was filming something else and I said, ooh, this is fire weather. This is when we get spooky. The kids are all on fire watch. And unbeknownst to me, the Nakia Creek fire was already started at that point, and that wind brought it up to a tempo. And then since then, it's only been a couple of days. Since then, so that was quick and easy, but I'm going to talk about this. When there's a fight going, first of all, you got to set this tip just at the right place down here for dumping in and for dumping out. And when we get clear to the top, you can put a little, fill a little into here, and then you can do a plunging motion here. You can go up and down, and you can get more. I don't want to. I could fill this bag to where it's so stiff I can't even move it. And I don't want to do that. I filled it a little stiffer than it was, and now I'm going to let it sag out again, and we'll see where it ends up. This is kind of a new one to me. It's a Brownells edition, heavy bottom, bunny, rear, blah, blah, blah. I bought it for testing some hunting rifles, and I played with putting a little baby powder on the Cordura on this one because I haven't been able to find a good, the whole Slickum thing is just, it goes on and on and on. Some days I'm convinced that the best thing in the world is a chromite filled bag. This is an old. It needs a ring on the bottom. And baby powder. And I don't know. I just know that day in, day out, rain or shine, even when it's mucky, muggy, nasty out there, and we're hating to even mess with it, baby powder does work. So I've got all kinds of colors of cloth. And so now what we do here, I'm not going to tape this way. I like this. I got this tape to get rid of anyway. I could tape back over this. These don't have a tendency to leak per se. Tuck this tab back in. All the various companies have different tabs. Poke it in with a screwdriver. In this case, it's a ballpoint screwdriver. And you're sealed up. And we've just adjusted quickly and easily. Because here's what I've seen happen before quite often. A person fills some bags, and it's such a complete pain in the butt that they never change them because they're like, oh, I got to go through this hour's worth of labor again. I don't want to soften the bag. I don't know how to get it out. You sit there and you pull the tab out and you wiggle and you squeeze and a little bit comes out and it gets too soft. No, my goal in everything is to streamline and to make stuff that will work quickly and well. The reason is, whether you're making brass, or whether you're testing loads, or whether you're changing targets, or whether you're adjusting the bag, for life to be sweet, you've got to be able to adjust stuff repeatably, quickly, easily, with no ag. And bags, I've got a lot of bags. I probably got half of them out here, but maybe I have 10 or 12, I don't know. Got them in various, I'm kind of weird. I get a bag that works on a 6BR, let's say an edge configuration, and I tend to just stick that in the box with that gun. I know that's childish and that's stupid and these are kind of universal use bags, but man, when I get a gun that's working and repeatable, I'm just too dumb to know that I can do that again. I just know that with this front rest and this bag and these bullets, I'll normally buy my bullets a few thousand at a time. Now I experiment and I work on every day trying to make this universalist thing to where give me your gun and your powder and your bullets, when I say I mean I buy something new. Go out, have a system to just get that thing going. It doesn't always, it just generally doesn't work that way for me. I try to streamline my systems, and one of the ones that's been bugging me is I found myself sitting on bags that were either too hard or too soft because I just didn't want to. I'm like, if I change them, I get it too soft, then I got another hour to break. No, that's when I came up with this aluminum Easton XX75 arrow jammed into a funnel with some tape, get nice smooth flow. The easiest flowing of the sands is without a doubt this white colored chromite. And before I reached my hand in there and took some out, I marked these. But let me stop. Before I show you the types of sand and the various weights, my goal here has been accomplished because now I don't live in fear of the bags. I very quickly and easily, when I want to adjust a bag, when I want to make it a little softer, a little harder, or the bag itself has changed because I'm scaring myself setting this is a nice bag and I'm setting it on an uneven surface. I'm leaning and I'm thinking, I need to put this back on something flat because I believe in keeping these bottoms really flat. But I've got these on a metal plate. I don't think I'm distorting it. It should set down nice. And this one, has been, I haven't even taken the sticker off the bottom as far as wetting it and conditioning it and dropping it down and all of the things that I do. I've just been waiting for the sides to break in, and I'm doing the third adjustment on it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to share that with you guys and show you how quick and easy it is to do an adjustment. This right now it's kind of back to as tight as it was when I started. It's still squeezable, and it still conforms to all the bag rules, the deformation rules. And here again, you got people that say, I want my bag as hard as possible. You got people that say, I want it as soft as possible. I don't know any of that. I am just playing with a lot of different stuff and sharing my results with you. I do know that I want to be able to adjust the sand in my bag pretty quickly and easily. So that's what I've done here. I've just topped off a bag, or actually taken a little out to show you how to get it out, and then put a little back in, more back in to tighten it up a little bit, to show you how easy that is. So now I'm going to talk about the sands for a minute, because I posted, as I was beginning to say, on Bench Central, saying, what is the deal? I've got heavy sand, I've got zircon, I've got something that I don't know what it is, and then I've got various beach sands. And this kind of shows you, in my opinion, zircon and chromite have slightly different running and filling characteristics, but their weight, I just went through and weighed and scaled this stuff up, and I find them to be essentially the same. So whatever you can get, zircon or chromite, knowing that zircon, the white stuff, flows a little better. But I'll show you a big bucket of chromite here to show you it's not bad. It is rougher and cobbier. This I don't know what it is. That's 10 pounds, 10 pounds. This is 9.8 pounds. This is just what I had left. This is something I bought as heavy sand at one point. And I asked the question on BRC, I'm looking for heavy sand. These two are the heavy sand. These are the pure on deal. And I find them to be, the legend is the chromite's a little bit lighter. You can see the difference in the two lines. Those are 10-pounders weighed on a postal scale. And I just drew the lines at the line in the sand. And to me, the line in the sand is pretty much potent. So this stuff here, whatever it is, I won't even try to... This is another heavy sand that I got on the market somewhere. And it's quite a bit lighter than either zircon or chromite. So my advice to you is, be careful if you're buying from somebody, because I don't know if they're juicing it a little bit. This stuff looks similar, but it's not chromite. It's a coarser thing than chromite, and it does not have the black in it that chromite has in it. So, I have no idea what this is, although I bought it as heavy sand. This right here is a beach sand from around here. This is actually dredgings from the bottom of the Columbia River, I believe. It looks too coarse to be dredging, so this is probably beach sand from the coast. Forget that I said dredgings. I've asked that, I don't know if I have any dredgings. So this right here, and you'll notice that it's filled up about the same as, no, it's actually a wee bit higher. This is 9.8 pounds of something. These lowest ones are chromite and zircon, and they are heavier, period. This is less than 10 pounds, and it's that much higher. This is only 6.53 pounds of beach sand. And this right here is 9.8 pounds of something. I believe this is a sand that I bought at Home Depot or something. It's just a pleasant brown, finely graded sand. I don't know if you'd use it in aquariums. I don't know where I bought it. This, on the other hand, with the line up here, and note that I ran out of room, so if I level them out there, maybe that works right there. This one's sitting down on the ground. This is 7.8 pounds of some kind of sand. So 6 to 7, but this is actually heavier than that. So all of these, the beach sandy stuff, the hardware store sandy stuff, the different sands that you're going to buy for juicing concrete or masonry sand. Out here the rednecks say masonry sand. I can never get it. Actually, it's funny because I've worked in a lot of states, and in New Hampshire and in Washington State, it's masonry. The rest of the world is masonry sand. But I think masonry sand is going to come in somewhere similar in that, I'm speaking above my pay grade here, because masonry sand is going to vary depending on where you are. All of these local sands come from local pits, the local rock, so they're going to be between, I don't know how much volume is here, so let me just say, use your own comparison. They're just simply going to be lighter than. There are people on various shooting forums and stuff that will state that this stuff is twice as heavy as beach sand. Well, I've got beach sand from all over the place, and then I've been on a lot of beaches, and I can't state with certainty that beach sand is at all consistent. But chromite and zircon are consistent. Now, just because I'm here and before I go, chromite is black. This whole thing, and it's a little coarser than zircon, but it is black, and it flows nicely. And of all of them, I consider this to be the cheapest of the heavy sands, at least here locally. It was 30 or 40% cheaper than zircon. And these are industrial grade, foundry grade. I live close enough to only an hour away from Portland, so I can drive down, and Portland, Oregon has good-sized industrial suppliers. I can buy, like I had to buy 12L14 in big bar stock, they had it in stock. I bought 416R recently to make muzzle brakes. They have it in stock. There's various places. I started calling around on these sands. I had to go through and find out where in the industry. I tried abrasives and blasting and various things. I ended up with a foundry sand supplier, but there happens to be some foundries here. So I got foundry sand in chromite and zircon. And hopefully this will help you sort out. I personally, if I'm in an area and I need to go buy some sand for some bags, have no real preference for chromite versus zircon. The zircon is a little bigger grain, a little crunchier. This stuff is fine, not quite powdered sugar, but it flows as you can see. That's why I wanted to pick it up with my hands. It was kind of neat. You can barely hold the stuff in your hands. This flows the best, and it's about the same weight as zircon, which still flows really good. I'll show you, I'll pick some up in my hand to show you that it's not easy to capture. Even though I'm moving my fingers, I can't really, I don't know if you can see that it's still draining. There, you can see it against that coat in the background, I think. I can't tell here. But anyway, that stuff flows pretty stinking good too. So, there's my thing on the sands. Enjoy your day.